want to create a legacy in the way you work and the way you live? I bet you do. Legacy is a positive word everywhere except in information technology. Chief information officers lament the legacy they inherited from their predecessor, and they leave behind a legacy for the next CIO to complain about. Legacy is the old stuff. It is the fundamental, essential software that keeps your business running. It is also the boat anchor that is holding you back from making progress. Years ago, legacy software meant you had to connect to it by sitting at a terminal connected to a mainframe somewhere off in the back room. Then legacy was everything without a web interface. Today it might be something that you can only use on the desktop web. You want to be able to use it on your mobile phone. When Salesforce.com pioneered the idea of business software hosted in the cloud, paid for by subscription, they managed to redefine the then dominant PC-based sales software from Siebel Systems as legacy. Now I'm consulting with a company called Tact AI, which wants to free salespeople from the legacy of Salesforce. They give you a voice-powered digital assistant on your phone that's going to pull together all the information about a customer, give you a briefing in the car as you're driving to that customer meeting, and help you document the outcome afterward without ever having to touch a computer keyboard. Because typing information into web-based forms? Horrors! Now, of course, a few years ago, a web-based user interface that you could access from home or on the road, that was a complete breakthrough. You might be getting the sense that legacy is used as a competitive weapon in the technology industry. As a business leader, as a buyer of technology, you have to be careful of fads and try and pay attention to what is really going to make a difference for your business. So does it matter to you that the new version of your accounting software includes a mobile app? Do you really want to balance your book on your phone? Maybe not. On the other hand, if you can take your most productive salespeople and give them some mobile app that makes them more productive and they bring in twice as much revenue, that's probably a good investment. Funny thing though, this new technology rarely replaces the old technology. It becomes a layer on top of what in big companies is a very complicated technology architecture. So my friends at Tact AI, they may eventually take some market share away from Salesforce, but mostly they're giving you a more convenient front end for pulling information out of it and other systems and entering information back in. Plus some productivity tools like giving you reminders for things. There are a lot of reasons not to walk away from legacy. NASA sends spacecraft out into the universe running on legacy computer chips and legacy operating systems because it takes them years to plan, develop, and test a flight control system. They don't want to mess it up with something new. The company I used to work for, Rimini Street, goes against the grain of the technology industry by emphasizing the value of legacy. Their engineers help companies that have spent millions of dollars licensing big enterprise software systems and millions more on consultants and implementation. They help them keep that running way after Oracle or SAP have told them that they need to upgrade. Rimini Street says, if it's meeting your basic needs and you don't see value in those upgrades, we'll help you keep it working even as standards change. Eventually, though, time catches up with technology. The biggest legacy technology crisis ever revolved all around time. It's called the year 2000 crisis, or the Y2K bug. Somewhere in the late 1990s, it occurred to people that it was not a great idea that some of our most critical systems for air traffic control and banking and running business systems had been coded with 2-digit date fields instead of 4-digit date fields. So 99 would clearly be 1999. But 00, well, the software written in the 20th century, that looked like 1900. And this is actually a problem because a lot of computer routines need to be able to calculate the difference between dates, calculate various things about dates. There were fears that after New Year's Eve 2000, markets would crash, planes would fall out of the sky, civilization would collapse. Well, virtually none of that happened, but the US government alone spent $100 billion making sure that it didn't. And lots of other organizations put in their own hundreds of billions. Collectively, anyway. The phrase, "it seemed like a good idea at the time," comes to mind when I think about how these legacies develop. The people who wrote that Y2K code that caused so much problems mostly wrote it when the year 2000 seemed like it was a long ways away. So in the 60s or 70s, if you were writing computer software, saving 2 digits worth of memory and storage seemed like a good idea at the time. The truth is, you can't anticipate all future requirements. Think of the US Constitution as a piece of software. Ran pretty well for 200 years, got through a civil war, but didn't anticipate Twitter or Trump. What you can do is plan as best you can, make the best decisions you can based on the available information, and leave yourself the flexibility to adapt when some of those decisions turn out to be imperfect. That's the way to create a legacy you can be proud of. Mr. Toastmaster.